This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Forgetting I know that's Michael McDonald. Back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk with the coach Ed Young. I am Matt Hatfield. And as always, we're brought to each and every Saturday right here on this fine radio station by Larry King Law. For injured in an accident, you call 757-595-8100. That's 757-595-8100, LarryKingLaw.com. Before we get to buy or sell college football style today, I want to get to a couple of things. Number one, I see the New York Post is reporting that Santa Claus is immune to COVID-19, according to Dr. Anthony Fauci. That's good to know.
Well, that is the best news we've had all year.
Absolutely. And someone tweeted at us, and we'll get back to our great guest, Dwight Vick. We look forward to getting him back on, too. He had a ton of knowledge today about our earlier question of the day, or I'm sorry, our poll. We're going to put up the question of the day here in a bit, asking you which is the best nickname of the ones brought to us courtesy of the coach, Ed Young: Richmond Spiders, Emory and Henry Wasps, or the UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. Thanks to Jim Hammond for filling us in on that. By the way, Banana Slugs at 50% winning it. But Ryan Dixon at Ryan Knows Best says, no Long Beach State Dirtbags? Baseball there, Long Beach State Dirtbags.
Are they in the California Penal League?
Something like that, yeah.
It's not an official nickname, though.
What is official anymore these days?
It's,
like recruiting.
The school has to
Are
recognize.
they official or unofficial? You know, who knows?
It's the school has to recognize the nickname.
Real quick on one of Dwight's points. We were talking about this during break, Ed, with Virginia Tech, and they are 16-16 the last 32 games. I don't know if he'd be a college head coach, but I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm Virginia Tech, the first phone call I'm making to get on my staff in the future would be Lauren Johnson of Highland Springs. I mean, the guy has done an absolute masterful job, and if the new head coach, if Justin Fuente was to leave, which we don't know that's going to happen. You know, he could, for all we know, could win 2 of the next 3.
We don't advocate.
Right, we're not. I'm just saying if Fuente stays for 2-3 years, whatever, maybe he should do this. Put the ego aside and bring in a guy like that who can get more of the Commonwealth talent. Because if you look at the various recruiting services, whichever one you subscribe to or you view, he's spot on. They're just not getting as many of the Commonwealth players, nor is UVA for that matter. Although UVA has kind of settled in a little bit more at times the last couple of years and, kind of establishing that identity he's talking about. But I think they got to get a killer instinct, and they've got to be able to not just get the killer instinct, Ed, but they've got to be able to finish some of these games because they're right there. They kind of lack that swagger as they're 16-16 these last 32.
There's just so much to it. Recruiting has many layers. It's not just a college coach goes into somebody's house and say, okay, here's what we have. We want you and a kid. It's just so much. You deal with AAU on the basketball level. You do with the 7-on-7s. You do with the street agents. You do with the uncle that used to play, the advisor who thinks he can advise, the Holy Spirit guy. It's just so much involved in recruiting, so much fluff that kids get sidetracked. Look, NCAA basketball in the portal right now, over 1,000 players going into the season looking to transfer. That tells you right there mistakes being made by the millions of all kind of reasons. And all these hangers-ons and advisor people, when all that happens, they're nowhere to be found. They're like the roaches that go hiding when the lights come on.
Well, so true, but to his point, they had that identity. Beamer ball, they're known for special teams, lunch pail defense, but false. They really don't have that true identity right now, and they're not that far off. There are 2 or 3 plays here right now. Instead of being 4-4, or they could also be 2-6, but they could be 6-2. And we're not talking about Justin Fuente, stay or go, hot seat, anything like that. He's maybe one of the premier coaches, at least in some people's eyes, in the ACC. So they're not that entirely far off from it. But let's get to buy or sell college football style, and Dino Franza brings us that today, involving some ACC players and teams. I think the first one's a local guy, is it not?
Yes, it is. Grassfield grad Patrick Jones out of Chesapeake. He currently leads the ACC with 8 sacks. As the Pittsburgh Panthers host the Virginia Tech Hokies today, he sits 2 sacks behind the nation's leader. That is Tulane's Patrick Johnson, who has 10. Hokies quarterback Hendon Hooker was sacked a season-high 6 times last week in a 25-24 loss to Miami. Do you buy or sell that Jones will get sacked at least 2 times today and sit atop the country in that. He'll get 2 sacks today and sit atop the country in that category. Does Jones get those 2?
All right, Ed, does he get to double figures? He needs 2 of them today. I mean, Hooker just got sacked 6 times last week. It smells to me like perhaps a bye, even though he might get the 2 and they still lose the game, that being Pitt, and Hokies get the win.
And if that was an issue last week in protecting the quarterback, in practice this week they fixed it. They know who Jones is about. He's going to get double teamed. He's going to get blocked right off the edge.
You're selling then?
Nope, I'm buying.
Wait a second. You just danced around in circles with me. What are you doing?
I can. I have my inside sources. They're in my head right
buying.
now.
Well, because of everything you just said, and I wanted to buy Patrick Jones, you convinced me to sell and go opposite with you. By the way, great storyline this one, Dino, too. You have one of the best rushing defenses in Pitt, I think, giving up the fewest yards per carry against a rushing attack for Virginia Tech with Juice Herbert and company that I think is 4th in the country, one of the best. So you get the strength versus strength, what wins out.
And in that game, too, there was that story that came out yesterday where both teams would have to wear the masks because of the Pennsylvania mandate, but that was false. The teams will not be required to wear masks while they're playing.
And Ed, real quickly before we get to number 2 on this, for high school basketball coaches, you guys, yay or no, are you required to coach the entire game in a mask? I have not fully read that. I think I've seen that potentially as the situation.
I think it's being mandated that we're supposed to.
Okay.
Players will love it because that way the coaches will be muffled. They don't have to listen so much.
All right, what's second up on the docket?
That's one way to keep Ed quiet. There are 3.
I don't yell much.
Referees will love it more than kids, but go ahead.
I don't yell much during games.
Oh, not you.
There are 3 matchups where ranked teams face off against each other. Number 9, Indiana. At number 3, Ohio State. The Buckeyes are minus 20.5. That game coming up at noon here on ESPN Radio. Number 10, Wisconsin. At number 19, Northwestern. The Badgers are a 7.5-point favorite. And number 14, Oklahoma State. At number 18, Oklahoma. The Sooners are minus 7. Do you buy or sell that all 3 favorites will win and cover?
So you got Buckeyes 20.5, Badgers 7.5 on the road, and Okie State a 7-point dog at Oklahoma. I think Mike Gundy's like 2-13 the last 15 against Oklahoma. I'm not buying this. I'm going to sell. All 3 could win, but I'm not. Those are some hefty spreads. In fact, I'll tell you right off the bat, I think the most confident one I think Indiana will cover getting 20.5. They will not win, but I think they can keep that to 14 to 20-point deficit there. It might be like 21-7 at the break. They lose something like 35-20, 38-21, 42-24. So I'm going to sell.
Indiana gets blown out at Ohio State by 30 or more.
Okay, so you're buying that one. What about the Badgers winning by more than 7.5 over Northwestern and the Sooners?
They will. Wisconsin will beat them by
2.
At least 10 points.
At least. Are these guarantees from you?
Guarantees.
Oh, we got good stuff for next week, Dino. Go
guarantees.
ahead.
Put it down. Ding, ding, ding's coming up.
Oh, gosh.
And then the third one, we have Oklahoma and
I'm
Oklahoma
a man.
State.
I'm not 40 anymore, Mike Gundy.
And Oklahoma's predicted to win by 7 or more, right?
With Chubba Bubba Hubbard. He's a good running back.
Ooh, you selling it. You jumped on a boat and said, I'm selling it.
I'm selling it. Go ahead and buy it. You got money in your pocket.
Yeah, let me see what I got here. I got a credit card. Okay, I'm going to buy it.
All right, there you go.
All right. The Virginia Cavaliers, they have not lost in a month since October 24th to Miami. They won their last 2 games, including a 44-41 upset of North Carolina, where they put up a season-high point total on Halloween.
Dino called that.
Today, yes, I did. Today, the Wahoos are a hefty 39.5-point home favorite to Abilene Christian. Are you buying that UVA will close out the month of November without suffering a loss? Next Saturday, they make a trip to Tallahassee to play Florida State, which is a 35.5 or was a 35.5 point home underdog. That game with Clemson today has been postponed.
So Florida State will get a chance to a little rest up and coop up. That's a tricky one, Ed. Are you buying that UVA will go from, we were talking about last month, would they go winless in October to being undefeated in November? Granted, it's a little sketchy. They didn't play the full slate of games here. They're going to beat Abilene Christian today. They can name the score. 39.5 with them as a favorite is crazy. I wonder if that's the most UVA's ever been favored, but well, under Bronco Mendenhall, that is, not ever. I want to buy this with Florida State. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go on a limb. I think Florida State is just bad right now, and I just wonder if they really have desire right now. So I'm going to buy this. They're going to win that game against Florida State next week if they even play it, because either they'll win today and they'll win next week,
or they won't play.
Yeah, they won't play, so I'm buying it.
And then, it doesn't go against you.
Yeah, so
because of that, it's a good buy because if they don't play Florida State, they're definitely Abilene Christian.
Undefeated in November for UVA. How about that?
That's done. So based on that, you've convinced me to
buy
it.
Ed's a big spender today. Do you know what's number 4?
Yeah,
3 buys for you.
Where'd he come with all this money? I tell you.
Send some with us.
All right.
Borrowed it.
Buy or sell. NC State looks to notch its first non-conference victory over a ranked foe since 2010 when they beat the number 22 ranked West Virginia Mountaineers. To do so, the Wolfpack will have to topple undefeated Liberty, which comes in at 8-0 overall on the season, ranked number 21 in the nation. The Flames have already beaten ACC members Syracuse and Virginia Tech, both on the road. Do you see them completing the trifecta and prevailing in Raleigh today as 4.5-point underdogs? Do you buy or sell NC State?
This is trickier. Well, actually, do you buy or sell Liberty complete the trifecta? I mean, I want to say yes, Ed. I want to buy this because Malik Willis, who, by the way, the Auburn transfer, believe it or not, guys, he might be a Heisman dark horse at this point, which is just baffling to say anybody from Liberty and Heisman in the same sentence. Hugh Freeze, I think he's getting ready to potentially leave for South Carolina no matter what he says. I don't trust the guy. He's done a good job coaching. I don't trust any coach when they're being offered boatloads of money to leave. I want to buy this. I think they're going to lose in a heartbreaker today against NC State, whose second quarterback, by the way, has come in and done well for Leary. So I'm going to sell, but, man, I'm really tempted to buy because Liberty, they're really good. They're the real deal.
Oh, boy,
Go ahead, buy. You've been buying everything today.
No, NC State wins this, so I got to do what? Selling it, right?
Do they cover, though? Does Liberty cover getting 4.5? I think they lose by a field goal, so I might take them with the points, not to win out.
No, I'm going NC State 7-10-point win.
All right.
I think I hate going against an in-state team in that too, and Liberty's been a great story this year.
They have.
I think State takes them down.
All right. So we're gonna do our last buy and sell here. We might call this series between Utah and Southern Cal the home cooking showdown. These two have alternated wins and losses each year since 2013, with the home team winning. So if you're wondering what may happen this time, well, USC won last season's encounter 30-23 in L.A. Utah, with 9 new defensive starters as well as a new starting quarterback, will be the last Pac-12 team to open the season when they play host to the Trojans this evening. Odds makers have USC as a 3-point favorite on the road. Do you see the Utes extending their home winning streak to 12 games or not? Do you buy or sell?
All right, Ed, you want to buy Utah with this one, getting the win? You're selling.
Southern Cal will beat them. Southern Cal will beat them.
You're going to, okay. What do you want to put on this here, sir? You want to put lunch, donuts, chicken sandwich, lemonade? What do you want to put on it? Because I am buying it. I am all in. Dino, Utah is going to win this game tonight. I love the quarterback for SC, Keaton Slovis, who is under the tutelage of one Kurt Warner, by the way. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah.
However, they've had to win with drives late the last 2 games, have the Southern Cal Trojans, including that one against Herm Edwards and Arizona State. Wish him the best. I know he'd come down with COVID. But I think Utah gets it done. I think you're underestimating the line of scrimmage play. I do worry about the speed on the outside. Yeah, they're playing in the trenches is really good. And I think they've been salivating to play. They're the only team that hasn't played FBS that's playing this season. So I'm going with the Utes. I think they're getting disrespected as a dog at home. They've won 11 in a row at home. And SC, they've been spotty at times. Just when you're ready to buy back into USC, almost similar to Miami, although I think Miami's starting to get over that hurdle. Just when you're about ready to re-embrace and love them, they let you down. So I think tonight SC will let them down. Although I still wouldn't be stunned if SC was to somehow regroup and beat an Oregon. But I'm going to go with the Utes tonight. I'm buying.
Like I said, I'll sell it. I'm going to go Southern Cal.
All right, so there you have it. That is buy or sell on this day where we're still waiting to see if Michigan and Penn State can get out of their funks. Michigan is 1-3 for the first time since 1967, and Penn State, a loss to Iowa today, would mark their first ever 0-5 start. Those two guys on the hot seats, although I think a little more to get Franklin out of there than it will be for Harbaugh, who might depart and go back to the NFL there from Michigan. We will take a timeout and do the Pick 3 NFL selections to see if Ed can duplicate last week's 3-0 Sterling performance right here on your home for sports. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk, exclusively in Hampton Roads in the Commonwealth of Virginia on ESPN Radio 94.1.